Hey everyone, not sure if anyone can hear me. I'm sorry about the delay. I'm using this new streaming software, Streamlab, and trying to connect it to YouTube, and it was giving me a bunch of issues with all the connection and streaming. On top of that, helped take care of my mom. I had to send her to the hospital last night, and she literally, right when I was hitting the live button, the ambulance walked in the door, bringing her home. So I was getting that set up. So this isn't going to be too long because it is chaotic, busy right now in the house. But I want to address a few things. It's getting worse and worse and more apparent. It went from like once a week now to almost a daily or bi-daily basis of someone getting scammed out of a transport. I'm not sure if anyone can hear me right now because, like I said, I'm using a third-party software to do this. Until I can kind of get all the bells and whistles. I'm working 16 hours a day, driving, cleaning, transporting, or whatnot. So trying to find time to do videos and edit videos is extremely slim to none right now. All this mess is trying to organize like the shelf with all the little crates. That's every state and every like guides and everything I get from this state. And there's about a 30-second delay between what I could see on the video and on the preview. So, and I just set up a saltwater aquarium. There's going to be some videos and stuff about that. I want to do a series on saltwater aquariums. I also want to do a series on just different traveling related stuff like national parks, restaurants, fish stores, businesses, stuff like that when I'm traveling around. And I also want to do like feature a breed or a type of animal. Right now, I literally just got off the phone. Sorry, I just got off the road after 6 weeks today, and I'm about to go back on tomorrow. And I've got to pick up in South Louisiana going to Northeast Texas. So that's coming up. Nothing really so far planned for December. So I kind of just want to go over how to hire a legitimate pet transporter, and then using that information to find kind of like the red flags. Now, I've only been doing this year, which seems to be new, but previously, about 8 years ago, I used to breed and sell hedgehogs and other exotics and went to presentations. I was featured on a bunch of local newspapers, local news. I was in World News with Diane Sawyer, a couple of different reputable places I've been featured in. So I kind of have an idea on the exotic realm. I just basically took that experience and moved it to mostly cats and dogs. With me being USDA licensed, I could pretty much transport anything from like a hamster to tiger, bear, gorilla. The problem is I don't have the equipment for it. Now, I mean, if they've got everything ready and they just need me because I have a license for it, then I guess that works too. But it's just mostly cats, dogs, small animals. I've done a couple exotics. This year I did a Savannah cat. But I've got experience with all kinds of things like chinchillas, digus, short-tailed possums, chameleons, guinea pigs, ferrets, fish, salt, fresh, coral, inverts, spiders, snakes, whatever you could think of that's small. I've got some sort of experience with it, and I do have like the books that the vets use. I've got those books, or at least the PDFs for some of those books. So I kind of try to get everything organized here, because I got to start getting ready for tomorrow. But if you've got any like suggestions or comments, or you want to see more videos, or if you want to clarify something, I can, make little like comment videos or address anything in the comments or whatnot. If you know anyone that knows how to do video editing that wants to help me out with that, that'd be great too, because then all I have to do is just send you the photos and the videos or whatever and tell you what I want, and then you can make something nice. So first things first. To be a professional commercial pet transporter is the same thing with everything else in life. Um, if you want to commercially transport goods, you need a commercial driver's license. If you want to make money flying people in a plane, you need a commercial pilot's license. So naturally, with other professions, you need a commercial license. So this, like I said, there's like a 30-second delay. So this is my USDA license to transport. You fill it out with your information. Now, the thing about this is if you're a scammer, it traces back to your social security number or your EIN number. Because when you fill this out, you have to give them some sort of information, either your business EIN or your social. That's first things first. You cannot professionally accept money to transport an animal anywhere in the United States without that form. So if you're looking for a transporter, ask them if they're USDA licensed. If they're not, they cannot legally transport your animal. Same thing goes if you ask your best friend and, hey, I'll give you money for it. They need to have that license. The other good thing to look too, and it's not required, but it's nice to have. And what I'm looking at here is I know there are certain things that you may or may not need this, and I'm not going to go into that because it's just way too advanced. And some of the transporters know what I'm talking about, but I'm looking at this from like a customer's perspective. And if you're new to transporting, or if you are a transporter watching this, please keep in mind this is stuff to make you look more legit, make you look more reputable. If you got the basic stuff, that's fine. I'm just letting you know this is what I do to win people over, to have them have faith in my business. So this is not required, but it helps. This is the American Red Cross first aid for cats and dogs. Now, I will leave a link in the description that has links to you can find this. You can do a search lookup for people that have done this. Same thing with the USDA. You can do a lookup search for that. There's also a link for looking up. Basically, it's like a mass that you click on the state and it'll tell you where to go to search for business licenses and stuff like that. The next thing is I'm going to give all this. Some of this is my personal information. I say I'm based out of Pensacola because that's just easier for people to know, but I'm actually in Santa Rosa County. So you've got your business tax license. And then, so basically, anyone could show that if you're licensed with the state. I don't have it with me. I thought it was over here. Maybe this is it. No, it's not. Well, anyways, I'm an LLC. So if you go through like the Florida Secretary of State or business licenses, you can find that there. Now, some people run this business as a sole proprietor, which is completely fine, but you're going to have a lot of better tax advantages as an LLC. And just coming from a customer's perspective, you're probably going to look a lot better. Now, Google's an LLC. They actually just switched over to that. So, and also, like, if you are a transporter, have a business name. Don't use your name. It seems to help. Also, with looking more legit, have a business website. Don't just use Facebook. Like my website's AmericanPetTransport.com, and I'm working on using a different platform. But also have a business email address. Having a domain name probably costs like $9 a year. I pay $6 a month to have a business email, and what I use is info@AmericanPetTransport.com. Have a business email makes it look a little bit more legit than just a Gmail address, because all the scammers, use that. The other thing too is most auto insurances, some cover pets, but only personal pets. And they don't really cover much. I use pet carrier insurance, and there's links to all this stuff too below what I'm describing. I have a $2 million policy. So, $2 million, like, well, that's a lot. But if you're a professional transporter and you're hauling, a bunch of lions or a bear or whatever, that will add up a lot. I just transported 10 German shepherds because a breeder was moving, and each one of those were imports from Russia. So they probably were I probably had $50,000 worth of dogs in my possession. And the other thing too, so other than like verifying the business licenses and the legit, now, like I said, a lot of times too with an LLC, keep in mind that if someone's using a registered agent, depending on the state, the name of the owner may not be on there. If they're using a registered agent, it will show for anonymity, it will show an address. So like if you look at my LLC, it's going to have a registered agent's name with address down in St. Petersburg. But if you look at my articles of incorporation, it shows all my stuff. So the other thing too is like when you're going with the transport, there are a lot of different, being USDA licensed, you have a bunch of regulations, and it's called a blue book. I don't physically have one, but I have a binder with all the blue book information. It's about 260 pages, and it goes over anything on licensed, who needs to be licensed, how to be licensed, and how to transport all mammals, from a hamster to a whale. And one thing you want to look out too is it will not specifically stay in the book. When you're looking at caging requirements, it will give you like, this is what the parameters need to be. And if you look at a wire cage, it doesn't fit those parameters. And then I've got a link to like what a USDA cage is. It's like a PetSmart link, and it's one of those like clamshell plastic covers. And when you're looking for a transporter and they've got photos, you want to see that they're not not approved, because chances are they may be licensed, but they're not following the regulations. There are certain ways that they might be able to get away with a wire cage if they put some sort of wire or something in between all the bars, because basically the thing is making sure your hand doesn't go in and their paw doesn't get out and no one can get injured. Also, keep in mind too is that not to sound like a jerk, I guess, for a back of a letter word, the USDA doesn't care about your beliefs, your opinions, or your dog's feelings or what. They care about like the dog's health. So if you ever see a transporter that says, oh, they could go in loose or tethered or harnessed or on a leash, that might be a red flag, because that's not part of the regulation. It has to be in an appropriate size crate. And a lot of people don't know that, but these crates have to have a live animal sticker on it, and they have to be physically attached to the vehicle. It's a pretty dry read, and I actually put a link to the blue book if you want to see like all the specific things on there that are required. Another thing too is most of the transporters that I know of, they do GPS tracking. And basically most likely they'll send a link, either like Google or some other app, and you click on the link and you'll see a little blue dot going across the map where they're at. And I don't look at it as a way to stalk or spy. I look at it as a safety thing. For example, last month I was going through Montana, hit a little patch of black ice on it was a speed limit of 80 miles an hour. That was like a roller coaster to get the vehicle under control, slipping and sliding through that. So it's more of like, hey, if you don't see me moving and they don't give you an update that they're at a gas station or walking the dog, they might be in a ditch. So that's the thing with that too. And with me I send a lot of photo and video updates, and I'm pretty blunt. Like I'll say they went pee, they went poop, they drank water, they ate food, or they're like just any little thing that might seem important. I let the customer know that. The other thing too you want to look at, I'm just trying to think of to look for. So with the health certificates, I did send a link to the USDA website for international like countries and in state. Typically 95-99% of the time you're going to need a health certificate, unless it's like in state, and it varies by state too. For example, I can bring an animal into Texas without one. California depends on the circumstance. Um, so anytime a customer asks me to transport an animal, I always go to this website and I check all the state laws to see if they've changed from whenever the last time I checked it. So if a transporter tells you, oh, I don't need a health certificate, I need a shot record, might be a red flag. But you've got to see if it's specifically for your state or whatnot. Um, Normally, the health certificate that you're going to need, some vets, they use USDA Form 7001, but most states will not accept it because it's in the public domain and it can be forged. Most of the ones I get are specifically from the state side, and the vet has the form. So if you need to transport an animal to another state, just tell your vet that, like, hey, it's going across state line, I need a health certificate. Those normally range anywhere I've seen from $20 to $50. It varies there, state to state. And it also varies. It could be 10 days before pickup, or there's not a limit. It could be 30 days. Now, I did have a challenge with that. My USDA, this blue book says 10 days before transport. I had an issue because a vet did it too soon, and I had to call the USDA, and the USDA said default to the state, which was Washington, because theirs was like 30 days. Also keep in mind too that there are some stipulations on quarantine periods that might not be so much for the transporter, because the transporter is just there to drop off. For example, Hawaii, I try not to do anything with because they have to have like a 3-day quarantine at the airport, because they have absolutely no rabies cases of rabies over there. I think there are some stipulations. I think Maine is, depending on the age of the animal, there might be a quarantine period. But it varies. And now, if we're dealing in the realm of exotics, that could vary by state, county, municipality. For example, Georgia. If you got a sugar glider in Missouri and I need to go to Georgia, that sugar glider has to come from a USDA licensed breeder. It can't be just someone that's just a hobby breeder or whatnot. And like I said, you can't do this for a hobby. You have to go through all the licensing and permit. You can't just, do this as a side hustle. And the USDA is 2 to 4 months backlogged on licensing, and the forms that I use to fill out for transport, I have to print them online. I just got a box of carbon copy forms that are 11 months late. Now, the other thing to look for too, kind of telling like legitimacy, if a transporter does show up or does delivered, they're going to have a form that they keep with them normally, and it's called a record of disposition, which is like a manifest form. On the back of it is just abbreviations for breeds, and it's basically, like I said, a manifest. They put in the animal's ID number, male, female, age, weight, breed, description. It has the shipper's information, the pickup information, the drop-off information, and once delivered, you get a signature. So I always do this in front of the customer because some of the information I have to pull off the health certificate, some of it's off the shot records, and some of it I just got to ask. And then they have one that's other animals, like if I'm doing sugar gliders, guinea pigs, hedgehogs, or whatever. So it's forms 7006 and 7020. They have carbon copy versions of this, but sometimes I run out and I've got to print them out. So you should be getting, if your animal is getting received, you should be signing one of these forms. And the thing is they have to stay on file for the USDA. Me not having this is $1,000 fine. Me not having a health certificate is a $10,000 fine. On top of that, someone's transporting your animal without the proper paperwork and they get caught. Your animal is probably going to be confiscated to animal control. You have to figure it out in the courts. I've seen where transporters have had their vehicle impounded and they were fined anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 per animal because they weren't doing the right thing, going through the right necessary paperwork. I also did leave links down below for different airlines and their pet policies. I've got the main ones like United, Delta, Southwest, Hawaii, Alaska, Spirit, and JetBlue. So you can review the transport information on that. Um, Now with Flight Nanny, if you're doing airlines, I haven't done an airline transport, but I've done the research on what to do. I need it. Obviously you're gonna need that health certificate. Um, because you're going to another state. And a lot of people get confused. They're like, well, health certificates are only for flights. No, they're for any modes of transportation. A airline has the exact same transport license that I do and has to follow the exact same regulations that I do. Literally in the pages in the book, there's ground transport, there's flight. And they have restrictions too. So if you get a scammy transporter saying that, hey, I can fly a pit bull, you might want to check what airline and what the regulations are. And it's not have to do because it's a breed. It's because their anatomy, the snub nose, things for like a Shih Tzu. There's weight restrictions. There's breed restrictions. Usually it's 20 pounds can go in cabin. Some airlines do not do in cabin. The others in cargo. So that's up to you if you want to put your animal in cargo. There's a lot of advantages and disadvantages. To doing airline, and now recently with everything going on with COVID, I did 3 transports back to back because of issues with airlines where they only allow like a certain number of animals, or there's cancellations or delays. I'm sure you saw in the news recently, like American Airlines completely like canceled all their flights or most of their flights. And it's just flights, just a headache. I'll do it if someone requests it or if I need to, but I'd rather not. It also puts undue stress on the animal, because it's not as easy with ground transport to do like potty breaks or checking in on them or anything like that, and putting them in a tiny bag underneath the seat and have to deal with them whine the whole time. Um, I can't think of anything else right now. Um, you can always leave like a comment if there's anything else you want me to talk about. Um, Now, some of these transporters, they do use, like myself, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, um, and sometimes we'll tell you to use friends and family, which is fine because we've got to pay all these fees. Like sometimes with me, I have to move when I do a booking and I have to move things around. It can go through 3 or 4 different fees before it actually ends up in my bank account. So the type, but I've been using mostly Venmo. I'm probably going to switch over to QuickBooks Invoices, once I finally get all the bookkeeping stuff figured out. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's the most I can think of. If you can add anything else, like I might be able to do like a video comment, like a YouTube short or anything like that, or answer your questions. Um, I would suggest if kind of the best way to figure out if you're getting scammed or not is if you start asking the specific questions of things I'm going over, like, hey, do you have a business license? And even if you're a sole proprietor, you still need a business license. Are you an LLC? Do you have pet insurance? Send me photos of like your vehicle or how my animal's being transported. And they're like, oh, well, we just let them lay in the back seat or harness. That's going to be a red flag. Um, a lot of people, when I pick up, uh, they take a picture of my license plate. Um, some breeders require at pickup to send your driver's license, um, which is fine, but some transporters are a little bit weird about sending too much personal information. But if you're an LLC like me, all my information's on the state. So technically all you need is my LLC number or whatever that I'm not sure. I've never had it given out. Or just your USDA license, because like I said, if someone's USDA, you can ask for their license number and someone in the back and will have some sort of identity attached to it. Um, so I'm not trying to be mean or play hard or discourage anyone that is a transporter already. I'm just saying that the more you make yourself look legit and you're transparent about your business, the more likely someone's going to get you. So like me, I don't hide behind a computer all day. Like I said, I'm doing these YouTube videos. I have a TikTok, Instagram. I'm very open and public about what I do. And honestly, I can't get away with anything because I'm already been on national news. So, um, but if something just seems like off or the way that they're responding, the other thing too is great is like reviews and whatnot. I use Citizen Shipper, which is a broker booking system, and you can go through there and pick transporters, but they have verifications. So I do my due diligence when I set up my account to send in my insurance, my USDA license. I did identity verification. They've done a background check on me. And a lot of people are like, well, they're looking for the cheapest transport. But the thing is, the cheapest transport, not, good transporters aren't cheap, and cheap transporters aren't good. And the price definitely reflects that with a lot of the higher end transporters. And some too, like when you go through there, some of them don't even, some of them don't even have all the information they need to be able to legally do a transport, because Citizen Shipper just doesn't do animals. They also do household goods, boats, cars, moving and stuff. And some of those drivers will wanting to switch over to the animal thing, and they're not legally licensed to do animals yet. So there's a lot going on with that. But yeah, that's probably the best way I could figure out is not getting scammed by a transport. I mean, you could apply this to anyday life. I mean, you could do the same thing for breeders. I know there are some breeders out there that I've met and hooked up with that are supposed to be USDA licensed, which it's all in this book if you need to be licensed or not, that aren't. I think I don't know if it's changed because I've dealt with exotics. I think if you got 4 or more breeding females, you have to have a USDA license as part of it. But I mean, it's anything with life. Like if you go get a contractor to your house to do cabinet work, wouldn't you want them to be licensed and insured? And hopefully they have there's something about that business that you picked on to make them look legit. You're just not going to go to a John Paul and Company with no website, phone number, email. You just saw a listing on a Google search. So, and the thing is, it's accountability too, because if someone that's not licensed or insured did some crappy roof work and someone gets injured, then there's a lot there's a lot that can go wrong, and there's a lot that can happen. So, I'm just gonna keep rambling on. I might do some miniature, smaller videos on specific stuff, like getting ready for transports, and whatnot. I do have a YouTube video that I do need to edit about just my intro. I currently haven't found like a live stream camera yet that they have in stock that I like. But other than that, like I said, I'm still working on my website. It's AmericanPetTransport.com. I'm using like Wix website or something, Wix. I'm working on that. I've got a couple other side projects that I'm working on too. But your best way is just to contact me through like Facebook or text my phone number. Have a good one.